That's one of my favorite sounds in the world. An 18-wheeler winding down some lonesome highway. There was a time when I thought I might like to do that for a living. The open road, infinite variety, sunsets and moonrises, scenery forever. For a kid from Queens, where concrete and brick was the 360-degree landscape, and office workers streamed in and out of subway holes twice a day like ants on a time clock, well, trucking was pretty damned attractive. No desk, no office, no necktie, no boss looking over your shoulder. Then I found out what a tough job it really is. But I still dig that sound and road trips. And I still do get a thrill when I see a big shiny rig lit up with dozens of those orange running lights slicing through the desert night. When I had my country band, there were a lot of truckers that would hang out in the joints we played. They'd always request 6 Days on the Road by Dave Dudley, and we'd gladly accommodate. It's a great song. But I suspect trucking has changed a lot since then, and probably not for the better. All the ways they can be monitored by electronic leashes and spyware probably take some fun out of it. I always figured if there was ever a verifiable close encounter of the third kind, probably a trucker will be first to shake hands with an alien, if aliens have hands. Will they speak, or just beam their thoughts into our skulls? Who knows? It'll be some guy running a Kenworth or some Peterbilt. I just don't see him in a Volvo VNL. He'll maybe ease down a ramp one night so he can tank up or wring out a kidney, and there it will be, just on the other side of a gnarly oak tree. Some kind of spaceship. Or maybe there will be no ship. Maybe they just slip in from another dimension and materialize like ghosts as he steps down from the cab. There's a story out now about a radio telescope that's picking up signals in very precise intervals every 16 days exactly, which, they say, suggests some intelligent life is transmitting them. I'd play you a sample of the sound, but it seems they make no audible sound. Some guys have created facsimiles, and all they sound like is a squelch on a CB or walkie-talkie. Here they are. Not very exciting, right? But apparently, astrophysicists are jumping out of their skins over these things. Random bursts of waves are more likely to come from some natural phenomena. Some suspects are a spinning neutron star, or two stars merging. Do stars have sex? Maybe. Or something called a blitzar. Sounds like a dessert from a delicatessen. A blitzar is a collapsing star that is in the process of forming a black hole. And then there's the non-random signals, which suggest intelligent life. And this is all from some outfit called CHIME, FRB, which stands for Canadian Hydrogen Intensity Mapping Experiment Fast Radio Burst Project. If I said I knew what that means, I'd be lying. These guys say they've tracked these signals back to their source galaxy, a mere 500 million light years from Earth. I don't recall seeing many big ears on the East Coast, but in the West, seems we're littered with them. Why? What are we listening for? What are we hoping to hear? Is there intelligent life somewhere in the universe? Probably. If you believe what some astronomers claim, that there are more stars in the universe than there are grains of sand on every beach on Earth, and lots of those stars have their own solar systems and planets, then the odds are kind of overwhelming that somewhere in all that somebody or something else is out there. But there are two kinds of people on this earth: those who look outward and upward, and those who have their heads buried in their own asses. Some people never look up at the night sky and wonder, while others get stiff necks on any clear night. Some even drop big money on high-end telescopes, and hell, some of them are reserving rides on rockets yet to be built. So what are the ones looking outward and upward trying to find? Well, plenty of them want to find E.T., huh? The usual hope is for some beings that are more advanced than we and not hostile. Because the upward and outward lookers know well that we are flailing around down here like kids swinging at a piñata. And there are so many mysteries to be unlocked. But isn't there more to it than that? Aren't they really seeking a higher power? Maybe those signals are encrypted. Maybe there's a whole wireless internet operating at frequencies we can't pick up, and all these other planets are emailing and texting each other and streaming porn across millions and billions of light years. And they're using encryption so nobody can steal their MasterCard numbers or Bitcoin wallets. Maybe that signal you heard earlier, once decrypted, sounds like this.
It's Friday, Friday, gotta get down Friday. Everybody's looking forward to the week.
Personally, I find amateur radio the coolest form of electronic communication. You're not tethered to a keyboard. You don't need an ISP. But maybe what makes it coolest is its anonymity. There is nothing that travels over the internet that cannot be traced. Nothing. Just ask Ross Ulbricht. Radio, however, despite being well over 100 years old, still has loads of mysteries. There are shortwave frequencies that have been broadcasting nonstop for over 50 years, and no one knows what the hell they even are. Like those number stations.
Atención, 6, 7, 3, 7, 0. Atención, 6, 7, 3.
That one was in Spanish. I've heard them in German, Russian, Chinese. People figured they were some kind of code being beamed to spies. That could be. Then there was one called the Yosemite Sam Station, and all it ever said was, "I'm gonna blow you out of." Some ham radio sleuths thought they had traced that one to a military base in New Mexico. When news of their investigation leaked, Sam went silent forever. Here's one that's been around a long time. Experts have determined it is not static or noise. It is somebody intentionally transmitting this sound 24/7. So all these guys have been tearing their hair out forever, trying to make sense of this shit. If they only listened to this show just a few episodes back in number 238, they'd know. The answer is simple. People often do shit, all kinds of shit, just to fuck with other people and make them wonder. I've been doing that stuff my whole life, at schools, corporations, even amateur radio. Now, I never had a ham radio, but I did and still do have a CB radio. Not too many people on them anymore, except a few over-the-road truckers out on the interstates. They were created so drivers could get a heads up on traffic or weather, or where to get a decent meal or an okay motel. And they helped with the loneliness of long solo road trips. But people are always going to figure out ways to fuck around with everything. Same as those ham radio guys. And with CB, it was called chucking. Now, nitwits and knuckleheads would just play music to tie up a channel, or they'd belch or fart or curse people out. Me, I was a kindred spirit of that Yosemite Sam guy. And just like there are two kinds of people, the outward and upward lookers and the head up the ass people, there were guys on the CB who appreciated a good gag, and those stiffs who would get pissed about damn near anything. On long hauls, truckers would have some remarkably long and in-depth conversations. They'd talk about their families or divorces or their stints in the service, usually on Channel 19, which was the general on-ramp to CB land. And often they'd move up or down to one of 39 other channels in an effort to find some privacy. Well, that was futile. They had verbal codes for what channel they would move to, but it didn't matter. You could scan the dial and find them in a minute or two. And on long trips, I would listen, and then after a while, I would key my mic and...
All right, I'm going over.
I have no idea where the fuck I got that line. In my mind, I figured I might have heard it in some goofy war movie, maybe World War I. Bunch of English soldiers in a muddy, blood-caked trench wearing those pie-plate helmets. And the Germans have had them pinned down with a machine gun for days. And so they draw straws, and Mr. Unlucky has to climb out of that trench and lob a grenade at that machine gun nest. He knows there's a 99% chance he'll be cut in half before he can cock his arm. But he drew the short straw. He looks at his buddies, swallows hard, and says, "All right, I'm going over." That's what was in my mind. So I'd listen to these truckers bitch about the highway patrol or their cheating wives or their sciatica, and then, when I felt a good pause in their conversation, I'd jump in with,
All right, I'm going over.
Then I'd wait. They'd assume it was a skip or a piece of another conversation from miles away. That happens all the time on CB. But then, after another 5 or 10 minutes, I'd find another pause in their conversation and impregnate that pause with,
All right, I'm going over.
Then you'd hear the too long pause as they realized they were being chucked. And they'd maybe give some code, 23 skidoo or a triple whistle or whatever, but it didn't matter. I'd find them. And when I did, I didn't just jump back in. That's what amateurs do. I'd lay back for 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes until they'd forgotten about me. Then one guy might be pouring out his heart to the other about some ex that done him wrong, took the kids, sold his Corvette, and spread cat shit on his suede Tony Lamas. I could just about hear his voice about to crack in the midst of this roadway confessional, and...
All right, I'm going over.
There would be a pause, because he was taking a breath, a big breath, to power a nuclear string of invectives.
You motherfucking slime ball piece of shit! I'm gonna find you and shove a tire so far up your ass it'll pop out the top of your fucking skull. Why don't you go fuck yourself?
Now I would shut up, because after a fusillade like that, everyone is expecting a reply. But I'd let the seconds tick by. 30, 40, maybe even a minute. Now they're wondering, same as those ham radio guys wondering about Yosemite Sam. Maybe he scared me off. Maybe I'm out of range. And then they'd hear,
Yes, sir. I'd be happy to. Happy to what? Happy to fuck myself.
oh, it was just magnificent. I think I got, "Yes, sir, I'd be happy to," from the same dopey English war movie. I don't know, but it really is the perfect one-size-fits-all, all-purpose retort to blind rage that's guaranteed to torque 'em up like a turbine dynamo. Once in a while, I'd get a dude with a sense of humor, and after 5 or 6 strategically placed, "All right, I'm going over," he'd say,
All right then, go the fuck over. Why don't you?
A couple years back, the whole damn family and I drove across country, and I had that CB on most of the time, and my kids nearly bust a gut. I've never seen them having that kind of fun on Instagram, Snapchat, or TikTok. Never. And so this would be my answer to those guys huddled around their radio telescopes, listening to those mysterious broadcasts. Those aliens are probably guys like me and Yosemite Sam. They're fucking with you. For the hell of it, stop looking for meaning. There is none. Maybe they're not even broadcasting from a planet. Maybe they're out there zipping through galaxies in a Peterbilt 389 with those chrome stacks, just bobtailing it between loads. Loads of what? Ooh, that's the question. Maybe they ferry souls to heaven. Maybe it's a reefer full of pork bellies, or maybe a thermos bottle full of muscatel. They say there is no sound in space, which is why I think I'll pass on those rocket junkets they're selling. They're a bit out of my price range, too, and when I travel, I like to see and hear through the journey. Which brings us back to this sound. Several regular listeners to this show are truckers, which gives me a tremendous kick. There are over 700,000 podcasts out there, and these guys allow me to ride shotgun with them on their long hauls. In a weird way, it's as if I'm getting my wish fulfilled, huh? Both these dudes are major friends of the show. Cass from here in the States and Keith, tearing it up in the land down under. Thanks, guys. Hope your roads are smooth and the wind is at your back. Hey, thanks for hanging with me once again. It's always great to be with you. Slide over to the homepage at thatlarryshow.com and have a look around. There's plenty more content and commentary and images there, along with a complete archive of 240 other episodes. While you're at the show page, be sure to click a subscribe button. Apple, Google, there are a bunch to choose from. That way you never miss an episode. And if you want access to several dozen bonus episodes, those are the ones where we get a little more personal and contentious, well, just click that Patreon button and help us keep the lights on. I'll see you next Tuesday or thereabouts, and in the meantime, follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and now Instagram. It's a great index. You can see every spectacular episode thumbnail, all handcrafted by me, and then choose whatever show you want to hear. Until that time, my friends, take no shit.
I'm John McAfee, and I love That Larry Show.